An ORC poll. The poll also looked at several of President Obama's policies, which a majority believe are leading the country in the wrong direction. 52% disapprove of his handling of the economy. Democratic strategist Angela Rye joins us now to discuss a little bit about this. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
President Obama obviously not running for re-election, so a popularity contest not anything he's concerned about, but the candidates running for president in 2016 will be. Expecting not a lot of these Democrats will be saying his name in any of their stump speeches. Do you agree?
Oh, I expect they'll absolutely be saying his name.
Really?
100%.
Why do you think?
Let me tell you why. When I realized we were talking about this, I wanted to see what his poll numbers were when he was running for re-election. So in July of 2012, 46.8% of Americans didn't approve of his job performance. In 2011, which is really more, timing, August 2011, 40% job approval rating at that time.
Okay, so what does that say about the voters?
What it says is that your job approval rating doesn't necessarily correlate to how you perform in a general election.
It's not just necessarily the job, though. It's his handling on the economy,
Sure.
foreign affairs,
Sure.
ISIS.
Same challenges then. There were different foreign affairs challenges, but he had the same type of challenges throughout. And I think that what folks need to really understand is he's really been a very, very successful president. So they will absolutely be running on his record. For example, with Hillary Clinton having served in his cabinet for 4 years as Secretary of State, she can't distance herself. And I think that if you even look right now, what you see is her taking credit for some of the things that have gone very well and kind of being silent, but not creating distance on some of the things that aren't going so well.
You mentioned Hillary Clinton, that she won't be distancing herself. Joe Biden, who we should note obviously has not thrown his hat into the ring. If he does the same apply?
Well, I do think the same applies, especially because Joe Biden is clearly very much a loyalist. I think Hillary Clinton is very much the same thing, but he really can't get away from it. 2 terms as the vice president, there's no way around it. I think one thing that's interesting now is, according to a Quinnipiac poll yesterday, Joe Biden is now doing better than Hillary Clinton in some key battleground states. There's Pennsylvania, Florida, and Ohio. And with that, what you see is everybody does well in the polls, but he's not in the race yet. Well, everybody has that issue.
You bring up that interesting Quinnipiac poll, which had Trump ahead of both Jeb Bush and Marco Rubio, their home state. Do you think the Republicans will use this CNN poll and say, look at this, everybody agrees President Obama's been doing a bad job, we need change, just throwing back to...
They can do that, but I don't think it'll go over very well. The one thing that I was trying to think about, what is the justification for this? Because he's kind of had a quiet summer, so to speak, and what I thought about was the last thing that people really saw was the Republican debate. The one thing that we can always give Republican candidates in their overall operation credit.
The last thing people saw was the Republican debate. It's the most watched Republican debate
ever. That's what I'm saying. So when you think about how that would shape American opinions on how President Obama is doing, think about how many times his name came up. And it wasn't positive. It was the Republican primary debate.
Real quick, before we go, we do have to get to Hillary Clinton and the email scandal. A federal judge saying she violated government policy. She insists she did nothing illegal by keeping these official emails on a private server. How much do you think this will hurt her? How far do you think this will go?
Well, the one thing that I've been really struggling with is how interesting it is to me, that this whole thing came about because of this Benghazi, this special committee stood up in Congress for the Benghazi issue, and the challenges there, the fact that there were lives lost and under her watch as Secretary of State. The issue now to me is the very thing that Democratic leadership and Democratic members of the House said from the beginning, and that is this is going to become a witch hunt. I think this is a dream come true for them because they've been able to keep this sustained momentum going into the 2016 primary.
Why do you call it a witch hunt? If a federal judge says this violated government policy,
because
what makes that a witch hunt?
Also use private email, because other secretaries of state use private email to handle work business. If members of Congress are honest, they also use private email.
Into that?
No, but I think right now that you'll start to see this becoming uncovered. There wasn't a search into what's happening in Benghazi then because it hadn't happened. So I think it's really interesting.
We are running out of time. I could keep you here for another half hour. Angela Rye, though, thank you for being with us. I do appreciate it.